Hello, everybody. Hello, Texans fans. My name is Matthew Jackson. I'm a Texan fan myself, and of course, we had a pretty good season this year. The 2018 season, the Texans went 11 wins, 5 losses. After losing their first 3 games, they went on a 9-game winning streak and then finished the season 11 and 5, and then went into the playoffs and lost to the Colts in the playoffs. And of course, many Texans fans, as am I, are disappointed that they lost their playoff game, their first playoff game. Didn't go very deep into the playoffs. I never really expected the Texans to win the Super Bowl this year anyway, because as good as we did play, we do have issues with our offensive line. We have issues with our running game. And I just didn't think those issues I didn't think it would be doable to go all the way to the Super Bowl with that kind of issues. But I think Bill O'Brien, the coach, did the best he could with what he had and did well. Now, having said that, there's a lot of talk, by the pundits. I've been listening to the radio talk shows and reading the post on the internet. And there's a lot of people that think Bill O'Brien should get fired and think that it's all his fault that the Texans didn't go farther and yada 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 yada. And I disagree with that. I think Bill O'Brien has done a fine job coaching the Houston Texans. And one thing I've heard a lot, it's been a reoccurring theme when I've been hearing the takes from different people about Bill O'Brien. They said, well, he's been coaching the Texans for 5 years. So after 5 years, he coulda, oughta, woulda, shoulda done all this, because he's been a coach for 5 years now. Well, that's true, and he has been a coach. He has been the coach of the Texans for 5 years. He's completed 5 seasons as coaching the Houston Texans. But I think another thing that's noteworthy, it's his first 5 years as an NFL head coach. That's key. Now, if you really want to judge Coach Bill O'Brien fairly, I think it's important that you compare him to other NFL coaches who also coached their first 5 years as an NFL head coach. Now, many coaches who become an NFL head coach had prior coaching experience. Either they were a head coach at a college or they worked it as an assistant in the NFL and they worked their way up. So you've got to take that into consideration, the age and their experience and being in coaching in general. So let's take Bill O'Brien's record. The last 5 seasons he's coached the Houston Texans, he has amassed a 42-win, 38-loss record, giving him a winning percentage of 52.5%. Now, when he became coach of the Houston Texans, he was 45 years old and had 11 years of experience in coaching. Okay, he coached 2 years at Penn State as a head coach, but before that, he was an assistant for 5 years with the New England Patriots under Bill O'Brien. I'm sorry, Bill Belichick. Excuse me. Now, when we think of NFL coaches today, most people think of Bill Belichick as the gold standard for NFL coaches because he's, in terms of win-loss records and, of course, the number of Super Bowls that he's won. He's won more Super Bowls than any other coach, 5 Super Bowls. And then he had 3 additional Super Bowl appearances where he did not win the Super Bowl, but was there at the Super Bowl. So you think of Bill Belichick. Well, do you know what Bill Belichick did his first 5 years? And you want to compare Bill O'Brien's record, his first 5 years in the NFL, to Bill Belichick's first 5 years in the NFL? Bill O'Brien actually has a better win-loss record than Bill Belichick did. Also, in addition to Bill O'Brien's 42-38 win-loss record, he won 3 division championships, something Bill Belichick didn't do his first 5 years as a head coach. Bill Belichick's first 5 years, well, when he assumed a head coaching job, his first NFL head coaching job in 1991, he was 39 years old with 15 years of experience of coaching. He amassed a record of 36 wins, 44 losses, which gave him a winning percentage of 45%. He won one. He had one winning season in 1994, and he won a wild card spot and won one um, playoff game, but then lost the next one. So he's 1-1 in the playoffs. Bill O'Brien is 1-3 in the playoffs. So Bill O'Brien's actually had 3 playoff games. So that's what Bill Belichick. That's the guy that everybody looks up to as the greatest coach in the NFL. So Bill O'Brien's first 5-year record is actually better than the guy that he mentored under. Now another great NFL coach who won 4 Super Bowls is Chuck Noll. Do you want to know what he did his first 5 years as a head coach? He was 33-37. He had a winning percentage of 47.1%. He did win a division championship in 1972. So he became a head coach in 1969 at age 37 with 8 years of experience in coaching. Finally, in 72, he had his first winning season, won a division championship, and he won one playoff game, lost the next. And then the next year, he had a 10-4 record and won a wild card spot, but lost in the playoffs. Okay, so that's what he did. That's his. So those 2 coaches, the 2 greatest Super Bowl winning coaches, have won the most Super Bowls. That's what there was. And Bill O'Brien's records is better than those. Now, let's talk about the 2 coaches that have won 3 Super Bowls, starting with Bill Walsh. He assumed the head coaching position of the San Francisco 49ers in 1979 at age 48 with 18 years of coaching experience. Much of that 18 years, he worked as an assistant under Paul Brown. Now, it was really interesting. Paul Brown did not think that Bill Walsh was head coaching material. So that shows you sometimes the greats can be wrong too. But now, when you look at Bill Walsh's win-loss record in his first 5 years, his win-loss record is not as good as Bill O'Brien's. Bill O'Brien actually has a better win-loss record. Uh, Bill Walsh's winning percentage is 46.5% in his first 5 years as head coach, compared to Bill O'Brien's 52.5%. Okay. The difference is, though, in Bill Walsh's 3rd year, his team went 13-3 and went all the way to the Super Bowl. They won their division, then went all the way to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. That started the dynasty. But he won one of his 3 Super Bowls in his first 5 years. So his first 2 seasons were losing seasons. He had Joe Montana those seasons, but they didn't get it all together until the 1981 season. Okay. And then in the 1982 season, that was the strike season. They had 3 wins, 6 losses. The 1983 season, they won their division at 10-6, but they lost in the NFC Championship to the Washington Redskins. But you take Bill Walsh's Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowls, so he won one of his 3 in the first 3 years, but then later went on. Now, with Bill Belichick, Chuck Noll, and Joe Walsh, they all had the same quarterbacks. So Bill Walsh had Joe Montana quarterbacking all 3 of his Super Bowl victories, and Bill Belichick had Tom Brady quarterbacking all 5 of his Super Bowls, and Chuck Noll had Terry Bradshaw. Okay, now the next 3 Super Bowl winners, Joe Gibbs. Now this guy's a little different. He won 3 Super Bowls, but with 3 different quarterbacks. So Joe Gibbs assumed his first head coaching job in 1981. In the 1981 season, at the age of 41, with 17 years of experience. He came out of the box pretty hard. He did well his first 5 years. He amassed a win-loss record of 51 wins, 22 losses, with a winning percentage of 69.8%. That's very impressive. Playoff record, 5 wins, 2 losses, very impressive. In his 2nd year, he won a Super Bowl. His team won the division championship, then went on to win the Super Bowl. The next year, in the 83 season, His team won the division. He went to the Super Bowl but lost in the Super Bowl to the then LA Raiders. They weren't the Oakland Raiders at that time. They had moved to LA. So, and then the next year in the 84 season, he won a division championship but lost in the first round of the playoffs. And in the next 85 season, he was 10-6. But that was a very impressive first 5 years. And then after that 5 years, he won 2 more Super Bowls. Another guy who won 2 Super Bowls in his first 5 years is Jimmy Johnson. His first 2 years, 89 and okay, he assumed the head coaching position in 1989 of the Dallas Cowboys at age 46 with 23 years of experience. He had a lot of head coaching experience with Miami University. His first year as a head coach in 89, he went 1-15. The next year, he went 7-9, and in the third year, 91 season, he went 11-5. They won a wild card spot and actually won 1 playoff game, lost a playoff game to Detroit. And in 92 and 93 seasons, we know what happened. They won their divisions and then went 3-0 in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. Now he had Troy Aikman both those times. So, but yeah, Jimmy Johnson, his winning percentage in his first 5 years for the regular season is 55%. So if you're comparing Bill O'Brien to guys like Joe Gibbs, Jimmy Johnson, yeah, he would fall short. Whereas if you compare him to Bill Belichick and Chuck Noll in their first 5 years, he was a little better. So, he's in between. Now, here's some active coaches who are still active in the game today that are considered top-rated coaches. Take Pete Carroll. Now, Pete Carroll, interestingly enough, is his record in the first 5 years in the NFL is very similar to Bill O'Brien's, actually. Bill O'Brien actually has 2 more regular season wins than Pete Carroll does. But Pete Carroll has an additional playoff win that Bill O'Brien doesn't have. But his winning percentage in the regular season, first 5 years, was 500. Now later in Pete Carroll's career, he did win a Super Bowl. He lost in 2004. No, he won the Super Bowl in 2014. They beat the Denver Broncos in 2014. I think before then he was Super Bowl runner-up when his team lost to the Patriots, I believe. Yeah. So Pete Carroll did go on to win a Super Bowl and then be a runner-up in a Super Bowl after his first 5 years. But yeah, his first 5 years wasn't that great. It's very similar to Bill O'Brien's, very mediocre. Doug Peterson's team, the Philadelphia Eagles, won last year in the 2017 season. But the thing about Doug Peterson, we really can't compare him to Bill O'Brien just yet because he's in his third year. The 2018 season is his third year. He did make the playoffs as a wild card. They did beat the Chicago Bears, but they're going to play the New Orleans Saints tomorrow for a divisional, so we don't know what's going to happen there, at least at the time of this video. By the time you see this video, the outcome of that game will be determined. But somebody say Doug Peterson's got 2 more years. But yeah, his second year as a head coach, NFL head coach, he won a Super Bowl. Won his division, then won a Super Bowl. So the jury's still really out on Doug Peterson. We got to wait a while. Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints assumed a head coaching position in 2006 at age 43 with 18 years of experience. He amassed an impressive regular season record of 61%, winning 49 games, losing 31. That's very good. That's better than Bill O'Brien's. He's won 2 division championships and 1 playoff berth. On the division championship in 2009, they went on to win the Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin assumed the head coaching job of the Pittsburgh Steelers at age 35 in the year 2007. At age 35 with 11 years of experience. He's won 1 Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl his second year as a head coach. His first year, he won a division but lost the first playoff game. And the next year, He won his division and went on 3-0 in the playoffs, won the Super Bowl. In 2010, he won his division, and he made it to the Super Bowl, but lost the Super Bowl. But yeah, he has an impressive 55-25 win-loss record for his first 5 years as a head coach, with a winning percentage of 68.7%. So yeah, if you were to compare Bill O'Brien to the Sean Paytons, the Mike Tomlins, the Joe Gibbs, Jimmy Johnsons, yeah, I would say he falls short. But then you compare him to other coaches, he's either on the same par or even better. So right now, I would say at best, Bill O'Brien is probably a mediocre to maybe a little bit above the average head coach. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't win a Super Bowl in the future and become even a better coach than what he is now. And I think he really wants to be. And I don't know of anybody who wants to win a Super Bowl more than Bill O'Brien. So, so I think we should give Bill O'Brien a chance. I don't think we're ready to throw him under the bus and, have his job. I mean, come on, let's chill out here. The Texans have got some other issues that are way beyond Bill O'Brien, So I'd say let Bill O'Brien finish out his contract with the Texans. Let's see what he can do. And keep him as head coach. I advocate keeping him as head coach. We could do a lot worse. And if you get rid of Bill O'Brien, who are you going to get to replace him? If you're going to get another mediocre head coach, what have you gained? So let's keep Bill O'Brien. And you never know. He has the potential to be a good coach and maybe win some Super Bowls. I really think. He was with the New England Patriots for 5 years. He understands the business model that the New England Patriots have established. And the New England Patriots, their organization is the model organization that a lot of NFL teams are modeling themselves after because of their great success in recent years, in recent decades, and certainly in the 21st century. So, and Bill O'Brien understands that model. And one of the reasons he was hired by Bob McNair is he wants to emulate the New England Patriots business model and apply that down here. And because we want that same level of success for the Houston Texans. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about is just, comparing Bill O'Brien in the first 5 years as an NFL coach to other coaches, how they did in their first five years in NFL, just to give you some perspective here. Don't be so in perspective and, myopic about this. So anyway, thank you for watching, and go Texans. Good day. Bye.